How's it going, everybody? Meister Patrick here, and today I'm playing Attack on Titan fan game by Roark. Here you can see the controls I'm using, which are a little different, but they're based on the controls I've used for some of the other Attack on Titan games that I've played on this channel. So I'm kind of more comfortable with them. If anyone in the comments thinks that they are poorly set up, then feel free to let me know. I have been having a lot of trouble with this game, and so if you want to blame the controls, then feel free. I personally just blame my maybe lack of ability, or maybe the game's kind of a little weird. But I'll leave that up to you guys to see. I'll be showing all the footage of me doing these tutorials. I'll be doing both tutorials, the basic tutorial and the combat tutorial. And I want to show all of it because I'm hoping the footage will kind of show off a little bit of how I felt when I played the game. If that, if you can see that in my gameplay. I'll also be showing off two different run-throughs of both tutorials. I've only actually managed to complete the combat tutorial 2 times, despite having played this maybe 4 or 5 times across like a good week or so. Maybe more. I've had this game downloaded for a while, ever since someone posted in the comments of one of my previous videos that I should try this game out. I downloaded it and thought, whatever, thought I'd check it out. And it was very difficult. That's kind of why I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to post a video on this. But I finally decided to hunker down and try to finally pass that combat tutorial, and I actually did it. But the recording messed up, and I didn't get any audio on the first time I ever beat this, which will be the second one of these that you see. So I redid the whole thing, and I actually did it faster, which was nice. And you'll see I do manage to do most of these tasks pretty easily, much more easily than I usually do. So that was nice to be able to show off for you. But you see there's sound for right now, but there won't be in the second time I go around, where I'll be able to focus more in on some of the things. Because this whole time I'm just kind of explaining what this video was. I've actually been talking about what I've been doing. Sorry about that little cut that was in there. That was an accident on my behalf. I accidentally clicked out of the tab. But if you haven't guessed already, this is post-commentary, which I'm doing because of how difficult of a time I had with this game. I wanted to make sure that I put all the effort that I could into focusing on actually playing it and none of the effort into talking. So now I'm talking about it now. So you can see here, this was my successful run. This whole just trying to get to the back of the Titan is way harder than it needs to be. One of the things you should know about this game is that in order to attack, you have to press the attack button twice. You press once to prime the attack, and then you press it again to release the attack. So when you see me pull the swords back, that's priming it, and when you hear the clink sound, that's me releasing the attack. So that'll be important here when I try to do these counterattacks. If you hear a clink sound before the Titan grabs me, that means I did the counterattack too early. And if you don't hear a clink sound, it might mean that I did it too late, or I did it so close to the timing that the sound didn't even prompt. It can be hard to tell. See, every time you hear that whoosh sound, that's my attack failing. That sound. So this kind of gets us to the biggest problem I have with this game, which is mainly this counterattack animation and execution. It's really bad, especially since you see he doesn't even attack you consistently. He just sort of sometimes decides to whip his hand out to your character model whenever he feels like it seems like, and it's totally inconsistent. He does kind of give you a little bit of a primer sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't. Here you can see I put in slow motion the successful run. If you watch, it's probably hard to tell, but there were the timing on that counterattack was 2 frames of animation where our character models overlapped. So his hand overlapped my character model for what appeared to be maybe 2 frames where I pressed the attack button. So I pressed it either on the first or second frame of our character models overlapping. It's that precise. If you do it any earlier, it's not going to happen. You see there, I hit the back of his leg, and he can still grab you, which kind of forces you to get that counterattack in. Because he can reach so low that if you don't get one of his hands out, then you don't really have an approach to him at all. You'll see here pretty soon how low he can grab me. I'm sure, see if I approach from the wrong side, or right now that his hands are both free, he can grab me from basically the ground. I mean, there's no real height. He can grab you at least from knee level, which is as high as you have to be to cut out his knees. And both of the times that I've managed to successfully kill these titans in this game, there have only been 2 times. I don't know how much and many hours I've played this game, but I can assure you that I've only been able to kill 2 titans. And both times were after I hit their knees. So you do get a ton of time to kill them after their knees have been hit. But even then, the neck, the hitbox of the back of their neck, or hurt box, or whatever you want to call it, is so finicky that it's almost impossible to get. Here I actually do manage to get it on my first try, which will make me seem like it's less impossible. But I felt so good when I managed to do that. I never, ever pulled that off. So now you'll see my second playthrough where I'll get more into specifics, but there won't be any sound, unfortunately. So bear with me for that. That was why I didn't show it first. So here we can start with the tutorial. The movement mechanics of this game are pretty simple. It's jump and then hold jump to gas, same as before. You can hook. The distance in this game you can hook is a pretty good distance. It's kind of between the other 2 games, which I'll just refer to them as the other 2 games. The names are kind of long. It's Guerin and Feng Li is kind of how I'll refer to them. So you can see this kind of has the split hook like Feng Li. Guerin's wanted you to hook on your own, whatever. They basically want it to be more skill-based. But the double hook in this game actually works better than the Feng Li one does. This one really encourages you to use that double hook. It works pretty well too. It feels like that's where they put most of their time. It really does work well. I'm actually personally very impressed by that part, and that's kind of what feels the best to use. The swinging mechanic works more like Guerin than it does like Feng Li, where you stop gassing, or whether you gas or not, gassing will reel you in. So you kind of have to stop gassing if you want to swing around something, and you just keep your momentum, which makes it difficult to like speed through a turn, which doesn't really feel good to me personally. I get why they did it that way, but I don't think it has as good of a game feel, I guess. The other thing you'll notice is this dashes that they have you do, the bursting. The bursting's really bad. I don't really get why, but they barely change what you do. Also, you can go straight up or straight down in this game, which is cool, but I never managed to use them very well. And then the inner maneuvering is very difficult. You kind of just go all over the place. It's not too precise. So you see here me trying to do the cut. I think I'm here forever. Just cutting the back of their neck is so difficult. And they kind of show you the angle they want you to approach it at, I believe. But you can see from my kill before, and every kill I've gotten, I think, I never approach it this angle because they normally turn to face you. You can even see him turning his head, but not his body. When you're fighting an actual Titan in this game, they turn their whole body at you, and this angle is an impossible angle to approach from. They will just be facing you straight on if you try to do this. So you can only approach them from the back, as far as I can tell, unless someone's much better at this game than I am. But I don't really feel bad about how bad I seem to be at this game, because if you look up, or I've looked up, you can watch the survival mode or whatever it's called, the like full-on combat Titan takeover mode, and you can watch someone play it with like S rank ability, so someone who the game thinks is really good, and you see them just struggling with every single Titan. It's a mess, and not struggling like like Dark Souls, whatever, where it's like, oh, it's a struggle for survival. No, it's more like struggling with this game's finicky, glitchy nonsense. It doesn't work too well. Just the hitboxes are, I don't know, there's something about the game doesn't work right. As far as like, yeah, the movement just feels pretty good. You can like kind of run on walls a little bit, which is nice. Like I said, I think they spent most of their time focusing on making the split hook work really well. And so the movement's pretty fun. I tried the like racing mission or whatever you want to call it, and I didn't get very good at it. I don't know. I didn't really get it. The trying to get precision movement in this game doesn't feel like it works too well, but just kind of vague freeform funsies movement works pretty well. This game, the movement's more like or your arcs at least, are more like the Fengli game, and that it feels a lot less precise. It's more about like just kind of getting where you want to be. Whereas the Guerin game was a lot easier to be like go point blank sort of areas and stuff. But where this game does worst, I believe, is combat. And as far as like how I would fix that, you could say that like, oh, it's good in its difficulty because it shouldn't be easy to kill Titans, maybe. And that's fair. In that case, I don't know, maybe I'd recommend adding like a difficulty meter where you could like play this game on hard or impossible, where it plays like this, or you can play like an easier one where they add some sort of mechanic to make this not as insane. Like for example, timing out this counterattack. As I said, I believe you have to press the attack button in the same frame that the Titan's model overlaps with your model, which is just so tight and impossible. It just feels impossible to do to me. I'm sure some people can get it, but his timing just is so inconsistent that it felt like there's no way to do it well. That was one thing I noticed about the S rank player. He seemed to manage to get every single one of those on the dot, and I don't know how he pulled it off. That was what I was most impressed by, because I could never figure it out. And that's just true for every hitbox in this game, or hurtbox, whatever you want to call it. It was so inconsistent every single time. It felt impossible to do, and having to double tap the space is so weird. None of the other two games don't do it, I guess, so I'm just not used to it. But it's just, there's so many, like, anything would help. If the hitboxes were more generous, if the counterattack was more generous, like basically when you play it, or when I played it, I felt like I wanted my counterattack to work as long as my character was currently swinging when he grabbed me. That just kind of feels, normally I feel like in a game you time things to be slightly early. Like when you jump off a ledge in a platforming, you time it to be slightly early, because if you're late, then you don't jump, right? You're off the edge, you're in the air. So most gamers are used to timing things slightly early, I think. And so that kind of works against you in this game, because I felt like I kept just pressing the spacebar slightly early, and I tried to do it late. And if I did it late, I guess it was too late, because the counterattacks were so hard. That just applies to every single time you try to hit anything. So one potential fix I could see is maybe trying to do like a slow motion mechanic. If you could like hold down a button and it would slow time a little bit. Just like a really brief like slow motion thing, just so you could time those things out. Or even if it was automatic, like when they go to grab for you, if it just automatically went into a little bit of slow-mo so you could time that out better. Then you wouldn't have to worry about the hitboxes. You could leave the hitboxes, hurtboxes, timing, all that just how it is. Or if you could make it, more generous hurtboxes. And you can see here me trying to finicky trying to get this hitbox. That's so difficult. I don't know what it is. But yeah, it just feels like there's any small change made would be huge help in this game. But I don't think I'll be playing anymore, because I really just couldn't do it. I really had to crank it out to get these ones finished. So thank you. Soink. Out.